Sometimes it's not just physical media that folks donate to me. Throughout the last couple of years, I've gotten plenty of digital donations as well, and today I'm going to take a look at my Steam library to see what I can give a look at. Here we are, the Stanley Parable, developed and published by Galactic Cafe. I've heard of the Stanley Parable before in passing, nothing too detailed, just that it was often recommended for those looking for something a little more, thought-provoking. That's about all I got from it. A game to make you think. Now, video games have been used to deconstruct all sorts of things throughout our years. Narrative devices, metaphysical concepts, and I've taken a look at those kind of games throughout this channel's lifespan. I have no problem with the game wanting to do something more than just go from point A to point B, but I also believe that a game should be fun while it's doing that so that I stay engaged and want to continue the adventure. If it isn't, then I'm sorry, maybe you were better off being a book or movie instead. So where does the Stanley Parable fit in all of that? You're in control of a man named Stanley, a tireless office worker who on a daily basis is given jobs to complete, calls it a day, goes home, goes to sleep, wakes up the next day, goes to work, and the process repeats itself. A white-collar worker in its purest definition. But one day, while at work, he suddenly doesn't get any jobs to complete. In fact, every one of his co-workers and associates suddenly go missing. So that's a thing. From this point, you take control of Stanley and have at it. The game's in the first person perspective, and the only things you can do, I'm not joking here, is move and interact with stuff. You can open and close doors, you can turn computer monitors on and off and push buttons to maybe open a secret passage, or to stop a cardboard baby from getting incinerated. You cannot even jump, but by all means keep trying, you'll eventually get an achievement for it. Yeah, no shit. So here's how it goes. From the moment you begin the game, your adventure is narrated by an unseen man voiced by British actor Kevin Brighton.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
But he's more than just narration. The guy is constantly telling you where you should be going and what action you'll take next, as if he's telling a story he's already written. For instance, when you find yourself deciding between two doors to pass through, he'll say that you'll enter the left door, like some sort of narrative GPS. But here's the thing, despite what the narrator insists, you are ultimately in control of your actions, and this is where the real fun of the Stanley Parable stems from. You could follow the directions of the narrator, or you can say fuck all of that and make your own pathway and hence make your own story. The true nature of the Stanley Parable challenges the idea of predestination and the meaning behind the player's choices. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from following the narrator down to the letter and come across an ending that way, but you'll find the Stanley Parable a short and rather underwhelming game if you decide to do only that. The Stanley Parable is meant to be played multiple times to see what kind of shenanigans you can get yourself into by making even the slightest adjustments to your route or thinking outside the box. Eventually, it'll lead to a different ending with the game resetting afterwards, allowing you to make another pathway. The narrator is what really makes all this work, and the reason I'm compelled to keep replaying the game. Everything you do, he comments on. And he especially doesn't like when you go off script.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
He wants to tell a story, but it can only work if, you actually follow his directions. It's a comedy, and as such, I got plenty of laughs. The writing of this game is great. I'd say it beats out the original Portal with its amount of deliciously dry wit and dark humor. Whether you're following the narrator's script or when you deliberately go out of your way to do the opposite of what he says, it comes with its own flavor of laughs. I knew I was in for a good time when I hung out inside this broom closet I found along the way, and the dude was giving me shit for a good 2 minutes.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
And then around the 4th or 5th reset, he fucking bars the door shut so you can't waste any more of his time. I thought that shit was hilarious. Now the whole thing about your coworkers disappearing, you can forget all about that shit. The game quickly drops it. But hey, you can crawl out the window and exit this very dimension. You can find a sequence of computer screens and enter heaven full of nothing but buttons because that's what you like to do after all. You can choose a pathway so utterly baffling that even the narrator doesn't know what to make of it and tags alongside you like a buddy to see where it all leads. I don't want to give too much away because that'd be spoiling the entire substance of this. That's what the Stanley Parable is all about. You do this certain thing, see where it goes, wrap it up, and then ask yourself, okay, but what if I went this way next time? It's all great for a couple of hours, because by then you'll have seen everything, and the Stanley Parable doesn't offer much besides that. I struggle to even call Stanley Parable a video game in the traditional sense. It's rather an interactive choose-your-adventure sort of spiel, with each story lasting around 10 minutes or so. Again, there's nothing your character can do besides move and interact with certain objects, and to stress again, he can't even jump. It's damn fun to witness what the narrator will say when you do certain things, but the gameplay, if you could even call it that, is not very engaging. I may think it's better than Portal as far as writing goes and the thought-provoking discussions it encourages, but if you were to ask me me, Portal still beats it because it had great writing on top of being a game that was also super fun to play and mess around with, proving that you can do both and excel in doing so. As such, the Stanley Parable falls under my one and done sort of thing. I saw what it had to offer, I've seen just about every possible choice I can make within the game's structure, and I had a lot of fun seeing where it all led, but afterwards, that was it for me. The magic of my first time was gone, and though I still admire Mr. Brighton's performance as the main reason I suggest picking this up, I see no reason to go back to this, unless I actually want to press this button for 4 hours straight. Trust me, that makes sense in context. That said, though I think it has a short shelf life, I still heavily recommend this as a piece of interactive fiction. It's $15 though, that might be a bitter pill to swallow for some given how little it offers after you experience everything, and because it's so light on the gameplay, but given the great time I experienced when I first discovered the kind of silly things I could accomplish and listening to the narrator berate me for doing so, I'd say it's worth that price. I'm a man that loves a good laugh, obviously, and I appreciate the Stanley Parable for making me laugh a lot. Well, as I stated in the update video, I'm going to unfortunately have to cut this current Donators Marathon shorter than I wanted to. I know I say that, and I realize we're close to the beginning of May, and this thing started in the beginning of January. But originally I wanted to look at more than what I did in the previous Donators Marathon, and couldn't exactly do that because the last couple of weeks, the last month and a half really, has just been hectic, just getting with the move and all the other shit behind the scenes. It's been a mess, and I do, again, greatly apologize for making you guys wait like weeks between videos, especially like in today's case where it's like not very long. So I was thinking to lead into what I was gonna say next. I was thinking for like future Donators Marathons. Because not every game could be like a 10 to 15 minute video. I was thinking for like the future Donator Marathon, like I just do like a bunch of video games all at once for like a couple of, giant collective videos, so that, I'm looking at a lot of games at once that are just, looking at one game. It's like 5 minutes long and you guys are not a fan of that. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on that. So if you could take some time out of your schedule, tell me in the comment section or on my Twitter page actually at Somecallmejohnny, whether or not I think it's actually better for me for later marathons, well, Donators Marathons specifically, to like just bunch up a couple of games, maybe a couple of short games together, so that I can make a big video, like just do a giant ensemble sort of spiel. I think that could work out for, later videos, so that you guys aren't waiting so long for like a 6 to 7 minute video, because I really got no excuse for that. Well, I appreciate the feedback if you guys can get it to me. That said, we need to end this current Donators Marathon with a bang. But I mean, what's a bang? I mean, what do you end this thing on? What do I have that was given to me that would be appropriate for ending this current marathon? Something big, a grand adventure, most likely given to me out of spite. But what can I do? I think I know exactly what I should do to end this marathon off. It's only a matter of time, I suppose, so